We are live. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Unblinded Real Raw. My name's Fernando, and first off, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And for everyone that's like, well, I don't know what's going on here, and or great, like what's going to happen these next 60 minutes, let's explain. First off, we're going to spend a little bit of time, about 20 minutes, getting to know each other. And think of this as what it looks like to build rapport and get to know some really awesome people and add them to your ecosystem. And number two is we're going to get into a little competitive nature, and we're going to demonstrate that influence is a superpower. It's present here, and maybe, or truthfully, there's a few things you can learn through our integrity-based human influence model. And to kick it off, the leader of this show, Mr. Sean Callaghan, what's present for you?
Hey, Fernando, hey, everybody. Present for me is gratitude. Present for me is I just jumped off. We had a fun kind of access with the Lions for Tony Robbins' challenge, comeback challenge. So it was connecting there a little bit with Tony. And I'm super thrilled to be here. So yeah, I'm present to the fact that influence is a superpower, and we're unlocking our mastery here because the world needs us, right? The world needs influence. It needs heart-centered, integrity-based influence, and that's what we're doing. And Vivian, I'm present to your amazingness, your energy, your presence. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's so good to be here, and especially with Tony Robbins and that whole aura that we're in right now. This is our comeback challenge.
All right, let's go. So you want to drop us in? And
yes.
With our amazing guests? Yeah.
We have Robert Ragnotti, who worked as the chemical engineer for Exxon for 25 years, left Exxon to become head coach of men's and women's track and field and cross-country team at Pepperdine University in Malibu, and then he left coaching after 14 years to become a master hypnotherapist, all the while managing several businesses on the side. So welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, welcome. And each time we encounter one another, I'm like, my goodness, the Pepperdine wave and like out there. So are you in eye shot or any connection to the water right now?
I can see it right. I just moved recently. I'm right on the water, actually on my deck here. I've got fishing pole holders. You could fish right off my deck. It's an amazing place. That
is outstanding. And so we are on opposite coasts, my friend. But I am very glad that you are near the ocean.
Yeah, it's my Del Mar Castle, as Tony's stories kind of impacted me.
Oh, that is awesome. Congratulations, Robert, and thank you for being here, brother.
My pleasure and honor.
And we have more, Vivian.
Oh my gosh, we have Joseph Varghese, AKA the Breakthrough Engineer. He is a growth and profit strategist. He is also co-leader of the New York Power Team. He is passionate about empowering others to stay focused, driven, and living their highest potential. For 17 years, he's been immersed in the science of peak performance, productivity, and gamification. Joseph has become a thought leader in the area of peer accountability, and since 2005, he's been leading Success Circles, a peer momentum-based community for entrepreneurs and coaches. Each member is a success story, much like himself. So welcome.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you,
brother. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. And Robert, I'm a chemical engineer as well also, my background, so we have it in common. I also ran track back in high school, so looking forward to connecting with you.
Joseph,
Thank you, Sean.
What events did you run?
I did cross country for St. Francis Prep in high school, and then I went to the fencing team, and I was in college fencing team as well, also for varsity fencing at Stevens Tech in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Stevens, that's amazing. Not far, 30 minutes away. So
right. Beautiful campus. Thank you.
Welcome, Joseph. Yeah.
I just love that you were in fencing. This is so cool. I dreamt of doing that.
It's a
so
fun
that's
sport.
awesome. We have Katie McIntyre, which I met, who's part of Susan's Eco system, and so am I. So we're very excited. I just met her today. So hi, Katie. And she is the creative assistant for change called Mind-Body Reprogramming. She has been fascinated by the mysteries of the mind-body connection since she was 5 years old, witnessing her mother's experience and the effects of multiple sclerosis. Her curiosity and experience throughout the years led her to discover what she believes to be the most profound combination of self-empowerment and healing: core belief engineering and breath work. She also believes that we have the resources to connect to our disconnection. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's so nice to be here, and I love to hear that there's other athletes on this panel as well. I graduated in sports medicine and also played D1 softball, so I'm happy to hear that.
Where did you play, Katie?
At Canisius College in Buffalo, New York.
Oh my goodness, there's athletic dynamics all over the place today, and that is super fun. I was captain of the Columbia University baseball team back in 1992.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so we have yes, many different athletic. We have the wave. We have, and what was your school's nickname?
Griffs, the Griffins.
Yeah, we're the Columbia Lions. And Joseph, how about you guys? What was Stevens Tech?
We were the Ducks. We had the ultimate mascot.
Yeah, the Mighty Ducks of Stevens Tech. Love it. Excellent. Katie, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, Vivian, and we have more amazing folks.
Yes, we do. We have Jake Clendenning, right?
Yeah,
Got it right. Yes, he's a man of faith, a father and husband first, a coach, business professional, and realtor second. And I know Rebecca Jones was the one who got him here. I'm wondering if you're at MAPS with her. Anyway, his why is to live free, such that my actions inspire others, and his mission statement is to partner with and guide leaders to abundance and opportunity for themselves and those they influence. He has a passion for the outdoors and spends most of his free time hiking, fishing, and working towards preservation of those resources. His intention is to leave a legacy that will be remembered through his actions to grow, inspire all of those aspects of his life. Welcome.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Jake, where you calling in from today?
Hey, I'm dead center in the middle of everybody. I'm in southern Wyoming right now, so just north of Chuck's old stomping grounds up in Cheyenne. So we're middle of the country. There is no water in sight of my house, so I'm envious.
How far are you from Jackson Hole?
4 hours.
Got it. All right. Beautiful. Well, thank you for being here today, Jake, and it's a pleasure. And I was talking to Rebecca earlier today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. And Vivian.
We have Chuck Hogan, which I just love. He is calling in from Dallas, as you know, and he's a certified concierge neurostrategist, a Tony Robbins senior trainer, has 20 years of experience helping individuals, organizations, and corporations live their best life. Chuck knows the satisfaction of driving commitment and the best of living in one's gifts while setting new standards so that the forward progress and momentum that come from a Thrive mentality with a full heart can compel anyone to new heights. It is his calling to assist anyone who's committed to growing and attaining new levels of progress, fulfillment, and happiness. Welcome, Chuck.
Chuck, welcome, brother. How are you?
I'm great, buddy. Wonderful to see you. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure. And are you going to be attending UPW Dallas?
Yes, sir. As soon as they let all the trainers know what the heck's going on. So that would be lovely. We're the last to know, man. We're the last to know. But it should be exciting. I'm looking forward to life opening up again on a different level and on a different basis. So lots of resourcefulness.
Any idea of what the numbers are going to look like, Chuck, for that?
I do. Roughly 2,500 people, about 250 crew, and it's going to be held at a wonderful location near downtown, which is awesome, the Hilton Anatole Hotel. So it's a hotel and convention center connected together, so it'll make it very convenient for folks. Right. But you're right in the heart of Dallas. So
distancing, no distance, like what's the any?
They have not given us I'll say an initiative on protocol, what they're going to be looking for. Knowing Mr. Robbins, I'll just say, and he's very mindful in relation to taking people and kind of coercing the best out of everyone. So I'm assuming that there'll be some measure of social distancing and masks. The ballroom is large enough where 2,500 people, we should be able to accommodate that. It'll be interesting to see the way that energy is going to be cultivated when you have some spanning of space between bodies. Since we're so used to being on top of one another, basically at an event, that it's just going to be different, and that's not a bad thing. I'm actually excited to see how we culminate this together and use everyone's executed resourcefulness, as you say, Sean, and blend ecologies to really create the most robust environment we can. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Chuck, and thank you for being here.
Pleasure, brother.
All right, pleasure. So, and then last but not least is another amazing trainer from the Tony Robbins world, Mr. Tony Rodriguez, another TR, and this is Mr. Get Up and Grow, and he helps people grow through what you go through. Tony Rodriguez, you have become a stalwart and a regular here. People are like, I want that. Let's see, like when Tony's there, like, it's amazing. So thank you, Tony, for being here and being amazing.
My pleasure. I'm always happy to be here, and I am looking forward to the UPW in Dallas. Again, like Chuck says, I'll know when they let us know if we're going, and what's going to happen. But I do miss the old school UPWs that used to have 22 to 2,500 people. So it's going back to old school. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes together. And if it comes together, I plan on being there. So we'll see.
Oh, awesome. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So,
All right. Awesome.
So let's take it in. Yeah, Vivian, thank you. You're amazing. Fernando, great job. And Robert and Joseph, I think are familiar with the format. It's 2 3-minute segments. First to open up listening, to put something at stake. The second is to share who and what we are and move forward with an agreement about whatever yes matters to us in the world. It doesn't have to be a sale. It's just a yes in leadership and coaching and marketing and selling and relationship development, all of it, same thing. Hello to yes with integrity, heart-centeredness. Remember, you don't have to set up the second call with Tony. Tony's gonna be, hey, just gotta grab a call. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. So just no big deal. There's no need at the end of the first segment to set up the second segment, 2 3-minute sessions. And so I think right now, since Joseph is very close by, Robert is further away. Robert is the away team on the Pacific Ocean. And Robert, I have either a 1 or a 2 under the table. What is your call, sir?
Number 1.
It is a number 2. So Joseph, would you like to go first or second?
Happy to go first. Be perfect.
Well, Joseph's going to dive right in. And who would you like Tony to be?
I'd like Tony to be Tony. Yeah.
All right.
And Tony's, go ahead. So Tony is an acquaintance. We connected before, previously, a little bit of background of who you are, what you're up to, a little bit from friends of that sort. And I'm going to enroll you into Success Circles, my peer coaching community.
Amazing. All right. Joseph, 3 minutes. And is this a schedule call?
This is a scheduled call. Yes.
Cool. All right. Ring, ring. Take us in.
Hey, Tony. How are you?
Great, Joseph. How are you?
Good, man. Good. It's been a while since we connected. I know we've seen each other at different events, Tony events over the years, Tony Robbins events over the years. And what are you up to, my friend? It's been like a while since I last saw you.
Hey, listen, just living life, enjoying life, and changing the world one person at a time, one company at a time, just trying to make an impact and help people grow through what they go through.
Love it, man. Love it, man. I know you're like one of the busiest people I know out there, right? You're so in terms of your coaching, and I've also heard you're involved in real estate and more, and you're a father of 2. Is that right? You're father of two boys?
Yeah, 2 boys.
Got it. Yeah, and I'm sure they occupy a lot of your attention during this current COVID landscape, I'd say. Is that right?
Yeah, certainly. We've definitely been spending a lot more time together, which is a great thing, to be honest with you. It was one of the great things that came out of this.
Yeah, I can imagine. I have 2 as well. Also, my children are much younger, and we are homeschooling our daughter. I'm sure you're homeschooling your kids too. At least you were up until the summertime at this point.
Right. Yeah. Except for that Common Core math, I still don't know how to do that. But yes.
Okay. Got it. Well, I can help you with that if you want a separate conversation. I've got a background in engineering. So I just wanted to connect with you because I know you're involved with these coaching communities. You're a coach yourself as well. Also, we have a common friend. His name is Anil Gupta, and Anil actually brought me into this recent conversation. He actually connected us again, and I just wanted to see what's important to you right now. Like what's important for you in your life in terms of making progress on. And I know you have access to all these amazing things from the Tony Robbins community and coaching and Get Up and Grow, your podcast, interviewing is great. But what's important for you right now?
To me, what's important to me, what remains a constant is, my need for growth and contribution and to help other people really achieve their goals and get to the point where they get to their happy place, right? So many people, I find that so many people are stuck with past traumas, with past mistakes, as I was, and they get stuck on looking at life through a certain lens. And my goal is to help, individuals and companies to be able to see that there's much more out there than
30 seconds. Tony, get a call in 30 seconds.
So listen, I've got a call in about 30 seconds. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with me.
Awesome, man. Well, I get that. And by giving to others, we give to ourselves at the same time. So that's something I can tell about you, my friend. If I could show you a formula in about 3 minutes, maybe we can do a later call about how you can make progress each day, even greater levels of happiness, maybe 1% progress each day or more beyond. You're a big player, I know, in this field. Would you be interested if I could show you a formula on how it works? And our friends, we have a lot of common friends in this right now. So, that's a separate conversation, but would you be interested if we had a follow-up call later on about this?
Sure. I'll
Awesome.
take this call now. We can get on a call again.
Fantastic.
In 30 minutes.
We'll make it. We'll go rock out your call, my friend, brother. I'll talk to you later on.
All right. Thanks.
Very nice work, Joseph. Tony, if you had one word, how did that interaction feel with Joseph? Like one word feeling?
Comfortable.
Cool. Excellent. Robert, are you ready, sir?
I was born ready.
I believe that. And I thank you for leaving the fishing poles down for just a few minutes. It is much appreciated.
Yeah.
So, what do you, who's Tony?
I wanted to play a little bit. So Tony, I would like for you to be Donald Trump.
Ooh, I love it. This is going to get fun. This is what the Real Raw is all about. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm going to try to talk you into a hypnotherapy session with me.
I love this. This is fun. So, and it's a scheduled call?
It's, oh yeah, we talk all the time, right?
Yeah, cool. All right. Robert, amazing. Take us in. 3 minutes.
All right. Hey, Donald, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm always good.
You're always good. That's right. I see you on TV all the time and you're always looking good.
Thank you.
So what's on your mind nowadays? There's not really much going on in the world, but what's on your mind?
Well, there's a one or two things happening in the world that have got me quite busy.
Have they?
Yeah. So with that said, I've only got 3 minutes. So what's going on, Robert?
Yeah. Well, I want to know kind of, what's the most important thing on your mind right now?
Getting reelected.
Getting reelected. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a hypnotherapist. And it's been just an amazing, amazing journey. And I think I could get you reelected using hypnotherapy. Would you be open to that?
Sure. But, right now there's other things at play. There's civil unrest. There's a pandemic that we're dealing with. So I don't know, when I have time to deal with that. I'm fighting off the fake news and all of that good stuff. So
But you're doing an amazing job, aren't you?
I think I am. Yes.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, is the mindset. And you know that.
Certainly.
I remember watching you on The Apprentice show, and I just loved that show. It would have been so fun to be on that.
Sure. And listen, I'm sure you wouldn't get fired.
I don't know about that. I think you were pretty harsh there.
Well, in business, sometimes you have to be.
Yeah, but mindset, that's such an important aspect of what you do, what I do, what everyone does. And I'm just really curious how your mind works in that area.
I think it works fine. It just, it's great.
I know it works fine, but sharing that with America, don't you think that might be an interesting way to actually move forward and move toward that reelection that's on your mind?
Well, I give people a piece of my mind all the time, Robert.
I know it. It's great. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's like watching The Celebrity Apprentice.
I wish I could fire a few more members of Congress.
Well, it seems like you've been doing that within your own cabinet. That's kind of fun too.
Oh, if they don't belong, I know a friend of mine, Sean, says hire quickly, fire quickly. So.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Only the 10 by 10.
You're doing a good job.
President Trump, thank you for misquoting me, sort of. But if you could, no, you have a phone call in 20 seconds.
Yes, I've got a call in 20 seconds with, so I've got to take that. So.
Who's it with?
Who with? I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know. It's always a surprise.
We'll enjoy that. I look forward to talking to you a little bit later.
All right.
Sounds good.
Robert, very fun. Fun energy is present on the Real Raw, and that's how it should be. Amazing. Katie, let's drop in. Well, actually, one word, President Trump. How did that encounter feel for you?
It was fun. It was fun. I wish if I had practiced earlier, I could have channeled my Donald Trump voice. But
we have a second round coming up, brother. So, Katie, what do you have? We go, 30 seconds to 40 seconds on each contestant, maybe 15, 20 seconds on what worked, 15 to 20 seconds on a growth opportunity. And let's please start with Joseph, and then a score on a scale of 1 to 10, Katie. So what do you have for Joseph?
Okay, great. Joseph, I thought overall that your welcoming and genuine tone was really inviting, and I think just made rapport happen like right away. It was very sincere in just how it exudes from you. You know, you even going, what's up since I saw you, and just connecting deeper from what he said into, you know, sharing yourself and taking that time to lean in to lean into the conversation, to lean into him. And then when you drop the big question, what's important to you right now, I felt that important could have been a little bit more specific, like a deeper word or a more specific word, because he got a little bit caught up in that answer because you were already circling around what's going on in his life and noticing that his life was full and great and wonderful, which is awesome. And so I probably would have said more like, where are you directing your focus right now for your next set of goals? Or just taking the fact that he is so capable, which you were using, and placing it a little bit more in his viewpoint of where he sees himself, because it sounded like he already saw himself managing his life pretty well. And so you could have, I think, important kind of shifted something there. But I loved how you reflect back on what you heard, and you really listened and gave him time to respond. I felt that really made a connection as you wrapped it up to feel more congruent and connected through the whole thing. So I thought it was really good. So I gave you 9.
Very nice.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Great feedback. And what did you have for Robert and President Trump?
Well, I love the fact that Robert just threw himself out there and wanted to play within the role of Trump. I also recognize how within that conversation, it might have brought some more humor or dialogue that maybe wouldn't have been there if Tony wasn't playing Trump. So it led me to the feedback of, you know, just when you said, what's on your mind? You repeated the question again, even though he couldn't answer it originally. And I think, you know, Donald Trump probably still would do that actually, but maybe rewording the question when you notice that they're not able to connect to that question. It just showed that you had a course that you kind of were pushing instead of more of an interaction that was balanced. That and I get that the whole role play made it so you had to kind of push him a little bit more, but like with the mindset, and the mindset works in that area, he wasn't fully following you, I don't think. And so you established a great friendly rapport and a positive, encouraging energy that made him go as much as he did. I just think there could have been a little bit more of a congruence within your dynamic. So I gave you 8.5.
All right. Beautiful feedback, Katie. Jake, how are you?
Hey, great, man.
Yeah. Hey, what do you have for Joseph?
And I love that Katie gives you the sandwich, right? It's the good, the bad, and the good again, right? I love that.
Yes.
That's the way we're going through. Joseph, I love your energy, and I've heard you before. I really like how you went and you really focused on the personal side of what Tony was dealing with. You know, talked about his kids, talked about family, talked about spirit. You know, you really went into the personal side of that for building rapport. So good for you for doing that. The feedback piece I would give you is you did a lot of stacking questions and a lot of stacking statements, right? It was and this and this and this, and there was like 3 different statements and or questions that would pile up, which giving that opportunity to respond just that little bit more, because Tony was ready to speak. You could see it because he leaned forward in his chair, he changed a little bit, he was ready to answer the first question, and you just give him the time to do that. When you did give him the time, you did a great job of active listening, right? You were engaged, you were watching, and then you spoke to him in the language he spoke back in, right? He was using some visual terms. I see what you're saying. I can see where they're going, and you stayed right in rapport by going with the same terminology. So once you got into active listening, you did really, really good. So I like that. I gave you an 8.5.
Beautiful. And how about for Robert?
Robert, yeah, that was awesome, man. Cracked me up. I loved the whole thing. Great use of humor and comedy to build rapport, and you could see the genuine pieces on you as you spoke about. You were laughing, your eyes were bright. You were digging it, man. You were having fun with it. And Tony was trying to get there too, and he was, in that Donald Trump, but he was trying to be that serious president guy, which was fun. So that's a challenge to try and get into a specific role play with that. I did feel that you spoke more than Tony did. A few more statements than questions. You were kind of telling him about what was going. You were leading him a specific direction instead of, to Katie's point of you asked a question and then you asked it again, the same question. So maybe changing that question just a little bit, or just giving him the opportunity to respond and use that. And the best part was, man, you had great energy overall. You carried it all the way through. It was a little bit of a struggle bus, but your energy stayed great the whole time. So I gave you an 8.
Awesome, brother. Thank you for that. And Chuck, what do you have, sir?
So for Joseph, again, gentlemen, both very well done. Joseph, you have this timbre and depth to your voice. It's a very polished, almost radio announcer type of voice. When you were not in your head and you were in your heart, your voice had much more inflection and flow. And when you went into questioning or stacking questions, you would taper off at the end of your statements. So you would say, "That sounds great, Tony." And it was like the energy would just fall off. Your engagement as far as your knowledge of Tony was outstanding, but there became a point where you were starting to pace and lead a little bit. So you were making assumptions like, oh, what your kids being in school, and, are they going to be, you must be homeschooling them as well. And we don't want to make assumptions either. Asking him a direct question and making sure you're getting actually his feedback and answer is even more prudent than getting affirmation. And so that way it allows him to actually respond in his words and his language, which again, amazing job of asking very poignant questions. Loved when you went deeper as far as where his life is going, what's important to him in life. Outstanding. And as Jacob and Katie had alluded to, give him a chance to respond. There were times when it's like you could see him leaning in, and it was interesting because instead of you leaning in and like pulling it out of him or being responsive to it, you kind of sat back slightly. And so there was just this kind of like ebb and flow and energy. Brilliant job. I actually thought it was beautiful how everything went. I gave you an 8.5.
Beautiful. And Chuck, speaking of like radio-like voices, like there you are. And Robert?
And with Robert, love just the humor of the whole thing. Your energy was very infectious and very up the entire time. Interestingly enough, when you went in, you asked the same question, but it was almost like you were trying to tweak it a little bit to elicit a slightly different response. One of the undertones that very much came across is that the playfulness and fun of it, Tony was struggling to keep in state relative to being very presidential, but as we know, that's not necessarily the highest level of character for the gentleman that that Trump was channeling of Trump. To that point, you changing out of tonality of humorous into maybe slightly more serious, or I'll say slightly more direct, may have imparted a slightly different response from him, because with an energy shift in you, it would elicit an energy shift in him. Thought the line of questioning was great. And again, allowing Tony to respond and giving him just a little bit more time in certain instances. But overall, I gave you an 8.
All right. Excellent, sir. Yes, we are ready for round 2. President Trump is still in the house. And Joseph, you didn't decide, having won the toss, to go first in round 1. That means you still have choice in round 2. So would you like to go first or second, Joseph?
Open to either. Let's go first. Make it happen.
All right. Take us in round 2. This is like who you are, what your solutions are, and the yes. Thank you, Joseph.
Ring, ring. Hey, Tony. How are you, man?
I'm great, Joseph. How are you?
Good, my friend. I hope we had a fantastic call earlier today. I know busy people, all of us. How much time do you have for this call, my friend?
Unfortunately, I've only got about 3 minutes.
Okay.
As you alluded, I've got back-to-back calls here.
Cool. Well, my intention is we'll maximize on these 3 minutes here. So thank you so much for connecting, being here, man. Let me ask you a question. So, I know before you shared with me some things that are important to you now, particularly growth, your commitment around that. See, by the end of the summer, so let's see the next 90 days, right? And as you might have heard through the great grapevines, I know and others, I'm a big believer in peak performance and really playing games, right? And we'll go into that soon. And sports. Are you a sports fan, by the way?
I enjoy watching a good game, but I can't say that I'm a fanatic. So I can't tell you who.
What's your favorite game to watch, or what sport specifically?
My favorite game to watch. Well, I like watching soccer. Being Portuguese, that's kind of in the culture, in the blood.
Awesome.
Good football game.
Awesome. Well, I've got a soccer ball right here, in my hand I'm playing with right now. And just thinking about, there's one of the things I love about soccer and any game out there is the whole idea of a huddle. The whole team comes together early on to huddle up and connect. So it's something that really inspires me. And I know we have a common friend too with, I think Sean Callagay, his name is, and he runs this community where they do this huddle each day. You've heard about that, right? I imagine you have. Awesome. Well, let me ask you a question. So for these next 90 days, so I know you're committed to growth. What's like an outcome? What would be a winning summer for you? What would have happened by the end of the summer for you personally? Let's see, in the game of peak performance, that would really like astonish you, that really like blow your mind off and really make your kids happy too. I know you're very passionate about your kids and your family.
That's a lot in one question. Well, I'd like to get my book finished, written and done by the end of the summer, along with another program that I'm creating. And
30 seconds to go.
I've only got another 30 seconds or so, but that's with my kids. I'd love to have an opportunity to travel a little bit more this year with them. This summer, take them on a few trips. Make some more beach appearances down at the Jersey Shore, and maybe travel to Maine and go to a few places.
Awesome, my friend. Well, I'd love to see you get your book published, spend more time with your kids. I'm going to offer you something. There's no cost to it at all. And a lot of our friends are participating in it. It's called the Momentum Huddle. And it's an opportunity to huddle up each day, kind of bend time, get more done, and have more fun too. Is that something that would interest you? I know we've limited time here for this conversation. We can certainly have another conversation later. Would that be something that interests you to kind of play with?
We can have another conversation about it. Curious
Awesome.
to know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll send you the link for it. Super simple. It's momentumhuddle.com, but we'll have a conversation later on about this. I'm really excited about what you're up to, and keep rocking it, my friend. We'll talk later.
Okay.
Joseph, thank you. Excellent work, sir. And yeah, one word, Tony, of how that encounter felt. First word.
It was good. I would have wanted to know more about the huddle, a little bit more about it before the very end. So that, I'm curious about it, but it would be good to know a little bit more about it up front so that we can, so I'd have another conversation with him because Joseph's a good guy and we know each other. So I would have another conversation because of that.
Awesome. Well, now we have an important conversation following that important conversation, which is Robert and President Trump, and like hypnotherapy sessions are in play. There's like waves and fishing poles. Robert, are you ready?
I was born ready.
All right, let's go, brother.
You were born ready. I was born ready.
That's
I was
we're
born
both
more ready than you were.
You were. Hey, I saw you on TV the other day. Were you out golfing?
I was.
How good of a golfer are you, really?
I'm great. I'm the best.
What's your handicap?
Wheelchair. No. I'm a scratch golfer.
You're a scratch golfer. I was thinking about this, and one of my specialties is actually in sports performance. And I don't know if you knew that hypnotherapy is one of the best things for improving sport. In fact, I've done that with several golfers now, taking them from scratch golfers to being on the PGA Tour. I don't think you'd want to do that, but you'd certainly like to be a little bit better, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Would that be
I'm
something?
good. I'm really good.
Yeah, but you'd probably like to play with Tiger and Mickelson and some of those players, wouldn't you?
Listen, they want to play with me.
They do. And after you get reelected, you got 4 more years. But after that, you're going to be retired and playing a lot more golf, right?
Absolutely.
So would you be interested in a program that I've got where I would hypnotize you? I wouldn't talk about anything else, just about golf, and that I could guarantee that you would be a better golfer afterwards.
Are there going to be any cameras?
No cameras, just me and you.
And we're just going to be talking about golf?
We will limit it to golf. But you know that if I work on the mental game of golf, it applies to the rest of your life too. It'll probably lead to your reelection.
Okay.
Okay.
You've got me curious.
Okay,
Robert?
that's what I wanted to. When could we do that?
Well, we'll have to clear you through Secret Service. And
Okay, well, I've got a Hungarian background, so I hope that works.
Okay. President Trump, yes, you have Congress and Russia on the phone. So you have 15 seconds.
listen, I really got to go. I got these Russians and the nuts in Congress on the phone. I got to go.
Okay, great. Make America great.
Will do. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Amazing. That was just straight up fun. Tony, you having fun?
I'm always having fun. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, amazing. All right, so let's start. We'll go in reverse order this time. Chuck, what do you have? Maybe we'll flip flop. Maybe start with Robert and then go to Joseph this time.
Sure.
Back, Chuck, if you could.
So just when you thought the humor couldn't, come back on any thicker, it went as thick as thieves, and it was great because you went right for the jugular. It's like you bringing up golf and then playing into the ego as well. You got immense leverage in a very short period of time, and the connectivity and the rapport was there literally almost instantaneously. Tony, good on you for I'll say playing back. But Robert, you didn't let him off the hook. It was like you were insistent on your level of professionalism and the quality of the interaction that you would have, and you had absolute certainty. And for that, I definitely have to give you bonus points. I gave you a 9 this round. You were very direct. You made the value proposition very strong and didn't mix words. So kudos.
Awesome.
Joseph, again, you're great, man. I mean, you have such a smoothness to you. You're like molasses, the way that you come across, and you're very even toned. I love the fact that you are going deeper. It seemed, at least in this interaction, that your questioning, although fantastic, it went long, and it kind of forced you to have to rush your value proposition in relation to giving an overall explanation as to what the momentum huddle would look like. And the soccer analogy was great as well. But I could see you go in your head real quick. You go, and I have a soccer ball right here. I'm playing with a soccer ball right now. I'm like going, okay, if you're in this session with me, I don't want you freaking playing with a soccer ball right now. I want you here with me. You have such a smooth delivery, and your strengths are that you're an unbelievable communicator. Again, the timbre and inflection in your voice is mesmerizing. And this is just, I'll say my own personal hallucination. I would love to see more inflection in your voice. Just when you get excited, let it show. You're so controlled, and you have this underbreath that's going on, and it's beautiful. You have unbelievable control and restraint. I gave you an 8.5 again for this round. I didn't think it was worse or better, but you're remarkable. So the little things.
Chuck, extraordinary feedback, brother. It is a pleasure. Thank you. Please, Jake, what do you have?
Hey, yeah, what a great group of people to be in a room with, right? It'd be great if we're all in an actual room. But yeah, to hear Chuck's feedback and everybody working, this is great stuff. So Joseph, on this one, I agree with Chuck on that, man. You have got a voice. You've got a mesmerizing voice that is a superpower right there. It's just that little bit of control in that piece, the inflection on that, the enthusiasm, excitement around what you're doing. I paid particular attention this time, and you actually stacked 8 questions on top of each other before giving him an opportunity to respond. And to Chuck's point, that didn't give Tony the opportunity to hear about the huddle, right? It was just formulate that first question. You started with 90 days, and then you went, what you've heard about me is this, and are you a sports fan? And I had no idea where you were going there. And that was that moment that I felt we kind of burned a little bit extra time. I thought your time management was brilliant, even though you were stretched. You still went, this is exactly what I got to do. It's really, really good. So I stuck with you, and I gave you an 8 on that. Though I think you got the skills to be a 10 all day.
All right, awesome job. And
Robert, dude, this is it's so fun to hear this, and I'm glad you brought it because it's so much fun today. I thought you did really good job this time on asking more, isn't that what you want questions, right? More closing questions of directly, that's really what's important to you, right? And you were leading him to that piece, and I thought that was really, really good. I like the analogy of tying the golf to, hey, when it fixes that problem, it's probably going to get you reelected too. So to Chuck's point of, way to play into the ego on that one. Tony, way to play the part and really go there. Robert didn't let him off the hook at all that time. It's a challenge. I mean, how do I give you bad feedback on this one, because you're playing against Donald Trump in Tony character. So maybe the comedy went too far, but that's part of what we're doing right now. So that'd be the only feedback I would, is just, man, rein it in a little bit. I liked how you went more of the direction of more seriousness to get in the flow with him. So I bumped you up, man. I gave you a 9 on that one. I thought you did great.
awesome job. Trans feedback. And Katie, what say you?
Joseph, I want to say, it's like Dave said, your voice is so inviting and mesmerizing, and the level of respect within the way that you deliver the energy behind the tone and your words alone, it builds rapport so easily. And with that, I thought from the rapport that you already developed in the first part that you could have just jumped right in. You could have said exactly what you wanted to say to him based on the rapport you already had. And so that's where I think it kind of took a turn for me, hearing how it unfolded with the long questions and sounded like there was unclarity in the direction, just because I think you could have just dropped right in and you eased in a little bit more than was needed. So it took away from that time that you could have banked on. You really could have got that huddle and coming together as a team feeling in him right off the bat, because you did already have that rapport. So I gave you a 7.5 just because of that shift in, because we were looking at how you got a yes with integrity and heart-centered. You definitely were heart-centered, you definitely had integrity, but I think you might have missed the yes.
Excellent.
Okay, so Robert, I think both of you were so much more comfortable with this role play this time that it made it a lot more fun. And I could hear that in your certainty as you were directing him. You knew exactly where you wanted to take him, and you knew that that you played into the character more, you played into the ego, and he bounced off of it exactly as his character would have. So I liked how you gave more space in the communication for him to respond, for him to say what he was concerned about. And you didn't rush him in that. You took that in, and then you acknowledged it, and then you moved forward again. And I thought that was really good to create a yes in the end. By the end of the conversation, it was very clear that you were saying, let's go after golf. And it was a good level of benefit for him to say, yeah, that benefit of that level of golf would work for me. So I love the choice of the role play. I loved your energy and the space that you gave the conversation within 3 minutes, which was awesome. So this round, I gave you a 9.
Awesome, yeah, Katie. So President Trump, can I chat with you for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so thank you. And thank you for taking the call. And I'm super appreciative. My name is Sean Callaghy, and I'm from Unblinded. And a couple of the folks that are close to you asked if we could have a quick chat. And I really appreciate it. I know we have like 3-4 minutes max, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So they're chatting about the election and some of the communication dynamics that are at play. And I'll just share this with you right off the bat. So we're in integrity that politically, like I have a million things to say, but I would not align myself with either the left or the right. So I align myself with truth. And I'd love to know, heart to heart, we're under an NDA, I'm an attorney, I would be disbarred for disclosing. So what I'm interested in is truly what you feel about a couple of things. So how do you feel about America?
I love America. I think I'm doing everything I can to do the best I can for the America and its people, our people.
Yeah. And if I could share from my heart, I actually believe that. I believe that. Right.
Oh, good. I believe.
And I believe some other things. So how do you feel about your level of communication, like your mastery of communication? And what I'm asking is, you're insanely successful. You're a billionaire. You're the president of the United States. You've been a best-selling author. You've been a TV personality. But how do you feel, and I just want your truthful answer, whatever it is, about your communication mastery towards people overall? Like, what's your rating on the scale? You're a 10, you're a 2, 10 being like perfect. What would it be?
I think it's good, but I think that people just don't understand what it is that I'm saying, because they don't want to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. They want to hear the words that they want to hear.
Yeah. And I had an interesting conversation with my mom on Father's Day that was about this very topic. And I upset her. And she cried, and I apologized, and we had a conversation about it. So can I enter that space with you for 20 seconds and ask you to hold space for a possibility? You can disagree with it like a minute later. You can do whatever you want. You're the president. But could you hold space for a possibility for 20 seconds so I could do a follow-up point? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hold space for the idea that is incumbent upon us, the speaker? Because here's what my mom said. My mom said some of her friends receive her jokes well and some don't. And her jokes are very lighthearted, you know, sort of like she likes to laugh a lot. And there's a group of friends that's a great audience. There's a group of friends she has that she says are a bad audience. And what I said to my mom is similar to what I'm saying now, is what if it's not the audience? What if it's like us? And so I teach something called integrity-based human influence. And I am not saying that you're right or wrong. I'm not saying the audience is right or wrong. What I'm saying is that we can agree objectively, you're existing in a space, and we could have a zillion reasons for it, but it's factually true, that you're existing in a space where there is a higher level of negatively intense, sustained feelings for you from a portion of the country than we've seen in the last 100 years of our nation, even eclipsing Richard Nixon. And I'm not making it right or wrong. I'm just saying objectively that is a fact. And even if it's exaggerated by the fake media, as you would say it, I'm not saying agree or disagree with that either, but there is intense things happening. Is that fair?
It is. I believe that I'm not liked by one side or the other because I speak more truth than they do.
Amen.
And I'm more for the people than I am for the system.
Yeah. There's 4 energies of influence. 4. And I have 30 seconds left. What I'd love to invite you to think about is that even if everything you're saying is the truth, if, not agreeing or disagreeing, the way truth is revealed and received, there's a science to it. And so if you love America and you want to make things better, and we can agree that you have to always tell the truth, like that's critical. And even if other people are lying, or you perceive they're lying, like that's critical. What I would offer is an ongoing series of conversations together to master this science, because you've mastered everything else you've ever done in your life. And the other side of this is not only guarantee for re-election, but is the ability to unify a nation that desperately needs it. And if you love this country, would you grant me the privilege of spending an hour together to see if it's worth spending another hour together to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because President Trump, you exist in the space of immense Zeus energy, which at the end of a conversation is the energy of leadership. But there's 3 other critical energies that could open up the listening that's closed right now. And there's other things to talk about besides that, but at least that. And I appreciate it, Mr. President.
What are those energies, Sean?
Yeah. They're the energy of fun, which you do have some fun in.
I love having fun. I have fun all the time.
I agree. Now, if I could respectfully say, and this is something we'd unpack, that there's a difference between having fun at the expense of somebody, which I would call negative vibrational, and positive vibrational. And in case anything I'm saying right now is sounding like kumbaya, like kind of, kumbaya, sort of lighthearted spiritualness, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the greatest sports coaches in history have delivered decisive Zeus energy in their leadership, including people I played for in my life. That scared me to no end. That's why our company's logo is a lightning bolt. Because that lightning bolt energy you have is a superpower and a gift. It's a question of when and how to use it. So one is fun. The second is aspirational energy. And President Trump, you do deploy aspirational energy. What could be unpacked more is where we started. Your goddess energy, your love. You said, I love America. And somehow the message is being translated, right? And I know the somehows, because there's a lot of attacking and blame and judgment that comes out of your mouth. And I get the pain. But if you truly believe that there's lies and distortion, and you're fully prepared to confront what you're accused of in your own lies and distortions, there's a space to create all change and come together. And that's all I'd love to do for an hour. And you could throw me out and say I'm nuts and fire me too, but there's a space here and an opportunity. Because I personally believe, I think what you believe, the next 4 years for our country are critical. We're in a space of race and like racial tension, because we're confronting a truth that like Harvard studies show, that the baby doll experiment shows that there's racial bias in America. We've got to deal with it. And yeah, we got to be safe also. We've got to deal with it. And like the Boston Tea Party, I mean, if we didn't win the American Revolution, they would have called that an act of terrorism and insane civil violence and unrest and property destruction. But we look at it and reflect upon it because it created positive change as something beautiful. And I'm not saying we don't have to keep people safe, but there are people who do feel unheard. And I don't sit on either side of this. I sit in truth. And that's the truth. And we also sit in an amazing space of like, yeah, objectively making choices between risking illness and harm and even death and the importance of our economy. But both sides of that conversation have immense validity and importance. And I think there's an energy that could be brought back to this conversation. And my goodness, you've been the most resilient human to like overcome every deficit imaginable, including getting elected in the first place. And maybe, just maybe, we could hold space for the possibility of unifying and taking a true place of higher vibrational energy and still hitting untruth with lightning bolts all over. So if you give me an hour, let's see. So what do you say?
You can have at least an hour.
All right. So sorry, I couldn't help myself but jumping in, and that was my heart. And I'll take a little feedback. Chuck, how'd I do with President Trump?
I wrote Sean for president. So, I mean, at the end of the day, truth wins. And what we need is acceptance, and we need to have the ability of being able to honor each other's perspectives and getting clear optics. And Sean, your line of speaking and drawing out logical, but yet also heartfelt commentary, allowing the person to process both cognitively and subconsciously at the same time, was beautiful. Really a testament to who you are and how you show up. But what rang through everything at an even higher resonance level was your authenticity. and where you're coming from, that heartfelt space, and using that beautiful cognitive ability that you have, that the mental faculties to deliver a very elegant and eloquent but direct conversation with a very powerful man. So I thank you, brother. That was beautiful to witness.
Thank you. And I thank Robert for the access, because I had never thought of doing that. It was a lot of fun. And so thank you, Chuck. And how was your experience today, Katie, on The Real Raw? What say you?
It was amazing. I'm really honored to be here with all of you guys. And I learned, and I got a good laugh. And like Chuck just said, I got to witness something very heartfelt. And that was really a nice moment to witness at these times. And so I want to thank everyone for being a part of this today. It was really great for me.
Well, thank you so much. And Jake, how was your day?
I had a great day, man. I love that you jumped in at the end, and I'm absolutely taking something away from that, because even though you spoke 90% of the time, right, but you asked for permission to do so, you said respectfully, I invite you. Everything about it was so cordial, was so respectful, and so receiving. Just, man, let's engage in this. I want to be part of this with you. There was such a partnership conversation in your conversation that I really appreciated the flow of it. And I'm thinking quite a bit about some other conversations I've had and will have in the future with that one. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. And Robert, thank you for that access, for your courage, for your fun, for your brilliance. And that really opened up some space. So Robert, how was your day today here?
It was great. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. And at one point I thought I'm going to have him be Oprah, and I'm going to talk him into an MLM on Activewear with Savvy. And so it was just a coin flip, and that's the one I went with. But I just wanted to have fun. But while you were speaking, when you were doing that interaction, one of the things that I thought of, and this is kind of a distinction for me, is that at first I thought, okay, that's how I wanted to do it, the way Sean did it. I go, that's what I was really going for. But then I thought, that's Sean's personality. That's not my personality. I don't think I can do that. And it's just kind of reminded me that whenever we have these kinds of interactions, you got to go with your personality, your authenticity, and let that come through. When we try to be someone else, it kind of comes through. And so I'm who I am. I'm the love bug guy. I'm handing out my love buttons and things like that. It's just where I'm at right now. But I appreciate you, and I agree. Sean for president.
Yeah, well, no, thank you, first of all, but thank you. Receive. And everybody, please. Yeah, I was definitely not showing how to do it. It was just a different approach with what I was selling, and I haven't done that yet. I have never on The Real Raw been myself and talked about Unblinded in the formula. So it was the first. I'm like, you know what? This is like a really cool time and energy. We had a little time space. So thank you for that, Robert. You did a beautiful job, brother. Thank you.
I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, thank you. And Joseph, what say you, my friend? Beautiful job today. And how was your experience?
Amazing. Yeah, I think all growth happens on the edge, really being bold. So acknowledge everyone else for making those choices. Robert, yourself, and positioning Donald Trump here is fantastic. I love this experience, really do. Every time I come back, I learn something new. And I think for me, it's just a connection of heart with being intentional with my words. And sometimes the engineer side of me, which is where I used to be years ago as a chemical engineer, as Robert is, kind of gets in the way because I get really strategic at times. So it's just learning how to really be, really just step into like the moment, really own each moment. Like yourself, Sean, very intentional with your language and your pauses and your presence. So always learn quite a bit from this experience. So thank you.
Yeah, I learned from you too, brother. And I think it's, is because I, could be head-based at times myself. I think just trying to be in our body, we're in our body, heart to heart. It just shows up like amazingly. You are so heart-centered. I'm not saying you're not, but like the more we try to get back into our body as soon as we're going up into our head. So thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
And Tony R., what say you for final, and then I'll take us home.
Well, this was awesome. I didn't plan on playing president. Better than Oprah. Thank you. I was already a woman last week in one of the Real Raws, a pregnant woman, no less. So thanks for not doing that again to me this week. It was great. you know, Joseph, you almost hypnotized me with your voice. So that was great. And Robert, you were on point, man. I enjoyed both of these interactions very much. And I really enjoy this last one, Sean, with you, because it's an interesting conversation. It was an interesting place to be to answer those questions, because I really do believe that the answers that I answered is what I think really is going on in his head. Whether they're executed, his process mastery kind of sucks, right? But the reality of it is, I really, you know, for what it's worth, you know, and I'm neither left or right. I'm kind of the guy in the middle. You know, as the song goes, jokers to the left of me, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Yeah. Well, or I think
we're all stuck in the middle.
Seeking here is the unlocking of truth and making things better. And the only political comment I will make for today is this. I think that people on the left and the right agree on about 98% of things. And we amplify the 2% differential into totally insane land, and then attack, blame, judge, vilify, and nothing ever gets worked out that way. And both sides are guilty of it. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you to everybody. This was a very special day in the Real Raw. Robert, Joseph, Tony, Vivian, Fernando for launching us, our fantastic judges, Katie, Jake, and Chuck. It was really special. Thank you. Beautiful day. Talk soon. Have a great day.
Thank you guys.
Love you.
Awesome.
Robert.